The fuck? All right, I think we are live. Where is everybody? Let's see. So be gentle. We've just now figured this out. All right, what's going on here? Where are my wonderful humans, Sonder and Logan? I think they should be coming shortly. I need to shave.
Here I am.
Oh man, look at this guy. What a stud he is. I'm gonna change my camera. Let's do this one. You guys can get the good. Oh, 2 chats already. Oh, amazing. Simon, Mark. All right, cool. So I think Logan is going to be joining us, but we're a little bit behind. So we're going to go through. Yeah, Landon, Austin, Saunders actually in Utah. So today we're actually just going to go through the metrics you should care about and how to measure them in Triple. And then if you all have any questions, which were actually submitted, so let me grab those really quickly. And then we can get started. Amaze. Where are we going here? And then if you didn't submit a question, you can submit one very easily through that chat, which would be fantastic. What else am I missing, Sonder?
Just missing Logan. He's struggling to get on the struggling to join. Logan, click on the participant button at the.
Oh no, Logan.
There you go.
Listen, guys, I wasn't sure if anybody could just participate in this thing, so here I am.
No, you have to have a fancy host link. You're schmancy.
That hat coming in hot.
What's up?
It looks great. Oh, San Antonio, amazing. Landon, you got to come down to the Austin HQ. It's awesome. So I think I'm just going to jump into, or do you guys want to do a little preamble of what we should talk about? And then I'm going to show my dashboard and you guys can pop into yours, because I love what we talked about. So we just filmed TWU, which is really cool. And one of the things that came up there was contribution margin. And so Logan does some pretty cool custom metric trickery to get the contribution margin. For people that don't know, contribution margin is ultimately just your revenue minus your variable costs, so your sales minus your variable costs. So you can essentially get the profit per order, if you will. It's a little bit averaged out because shipping, et cetera, but it's a pretty cool metric. We'll also talk about 3 ROAS. That's really near and dear to my heart. And then Sonder has some cool takes, and then we'll just finish it up with questions at the end. There is a questions tab at the bottom, and then we have a questions that people submitted, but I need to grab that really quickly. I guess while I'm doing that, Logan, Sonder, do you guys want to just introduce yourself for people that don't know y'all?
Yeah, sure. Hey, everybody. Logan Brown here. I'm a longtime Triple Whale user and joined the team back in January as a product manager. So essentially what my role is to kind of work with customers and help build some of the features that are within Triple Whale. So that, I guess, where we've been so far is trying to use my background in marketing, the way I use Triple Whale in the past, and kind of take that into building our products with our developers. So that's what I've been doing day to day.
Amazing. Yeah, he's one of the most brilliant, just an incredible human, and really good pickleballer, by the way. He was just out here, and he's definitely going to be on my team for the pickleball tourney that we're going to be hosting in October.
Cat's out of the bag. Twitter's blowing up on that, by the way.
It's going to do, the paddles are ordered.
Oh,
so we're partnering with this we have an amazing client called Recess, and they do incredible custom paddles. So we're going to do that. We almost have the venue lined up. It's going to be not a DTC after dark crazy, but it's going to be a good crazy. And then we actually might have something right on the tail end of that, so you can come out and just do this whole incredible trip, but keeping that a little bit on wraps. My favorite U-tone. Hit me with it, Sonder.
U-tone. It's a U-tone.
I miss it every time.
Yeah, I live in southern Utah, hour and a half away from Las Vegas. See, as far as like professional career side goes, I got started in digital marketing by starting my own e-commerce business 12 years ago, getting that going off the ground. Early days of Shopify and Instagram. I've had Yeah, a pretty awesome journey from there. Started a digital marketing agency, went to be the CMO of an e-commerce company doing 30 million a year. And then I started the Facebook ads at a performance marketing agency and got that off the ground about 6-7 years ago. Scaled and grew that. And most recently was the CMO there for 2 years. And now I'm at Triplewell overseeing our product marketing, our demand gen growth. I don't know. We're at a startup, so things are always ebbing and flowing, and we're figuring it out. So excited to be on the ride.
Changing hats every hour. You are, but you look good in all the hats. May I add?
Figuratively.
Okay.
Then,
Without
no
further ado, yeah. Oh, this is a client. They're amazing.
Nice.
Without further ado, should I just jump into my dashboard and you guys want to pick me apart, or do you guys want to start, or how do you want to run it?
Jump in, Rabah.
Oh, amazing. All right, let's share my screen here. And so I'm going to be using the actual new dashboard. So let me share my screen. Amaze. A Chrome tab, please. Summary page. Beautiful.
If you haven't changed over to the new design, everyone hit that cog in the upper right-hand corner, flip it on. It's pretty sweet.
There you go.
Might
you can ride the lightning. Yeah, it will change life. What's also cool is you can actually have this be the you can keep different preferences on our mobile app versus our desktop. So I know some people rock the OG on the mobile and the new design on the desktop, or vice versa. I'm new design all the way, but we want to give you guys options to make sure that you can derive the most value from the T-dubs. Okay, so just jumping in. So again, this summary page is comprised of sections. Those sections are comprised of little tiles. Those tiles are represented by metrics. Everything is customizable. It's actually really nice now where you can just grab the little handle. You can drag and drop stuff. Really easy to use. Same on mobile. I like to set my stuff up kind of hierarchical, where the stuff at the top is really what I care about. This is what the C-suite would look at. And then as you scroll down the page, you get more and more insight, more and more fidelity, if you will, in the metrics. So I'll just go through it. And then Logan has some cool things to show where he sets it up a bit different. He leverages our pin section pretty heavily. And then we can just jam on questions or anything like that. Always feel free to pop any questions into the chat, which is just right down at the bottoms. And then let's see. Amazing. Stuart already put a question in there. So that's fantastic. So we will hit that question, but let me just go through this quickly. And then we have a ton of time for questions. Okay. So starting out, ultimately as a media buyer, you're going to care about 3 things: effectiveness, efficiencies, and profits. And these are going to be the 3 heuristics that represent those. So heuristics, just like a fancy word for a proxy. These are all channel agnostic, which is great to see, because then you know that. Let's look at a longer time range. So let's do, I guess, the last 30 days. Or actually, we can do months. So we'll have month over month. Actually, last 30 would be fine. And so what you're going to see here is this is going to be your blended ROAS, your MER, your ecosystem ROAS. Nomenclature is not important. What is important is that this is going to be your total sales over your total ad spend. So you're going to understand. So reading this, every dollar in ad spend is driving $11.47 in revenue. So that's really healthy. That's super strong. Really awesome. You can see it's a really healthy business. The next thing, so this is going to be your effectiveness heuristic. How effective are my ads at getting people to buy things? The next thing you're going to care about is efficiency. So how efficient are your ads? Paid media is really expensive, so you want to spend that on prospecting for the most part to bring new blood into the fold. If you don't, you can get into a point where you just start to retarget into oblivion, and I call it trying to wring a dry towel. Well, ultimately, every customer is going to have an LTV ceiling. And it's very hard actually to move that LTV ceiling. It's pretty much usually set once they become a customer, unless you start to do some product expansion stuff. And so this is a really important thing to track. And so this is just going to be your new customer revenue divided by your total ad spend. So, excuse me, for this client, this would read, for every dollar in ad spend, you're driving $3.76 in new customer revenue. Here's a little kind of caveat here. If you have a more mature business, or if you understand at a high level and you're confident in your actual, say, 6-month, 9-month, 12-month LTV, you're more than happily, or you can easily transfer this metric for new customer CPA and buy off that new customer CPA in relation to your LTV. Sometimes people they either don't have a really good hold on their LTV, or they're a younger business where they don't really have that historical data to then synthesize into a really amazing LTV. And so this is why I prefer new customer ROAS. And then the last thing, this is kind of touching on Logan's contribution margin per order, is going to be POAS. This is going to be your gross profit divided by your total ad spend. And that's going to show you how profitable your ads are. So remember, we're wanting effectiveness, efficiency, and profits. This is going to show how profitable your ads are. So for every dollar in ad spend, you're driving $6.71 in gross profit. Which is really, really important, especially as you see the market's kind of tightening up a bit. You're going to see that you want to make sure that your POAS is in a really good place, because revenue is essentially a vanity metric. And ultimately, so I actually when I was running my agency, I ran a business or an account that the previous year they generated a little over $1 million, and they netted a negative 22K. That ain't the path. That ain't the path. So this is going to give you that kind of fire alarm, where making sure that even if your MER is there, that your profits are there as well. Next thing I like to look at, this is same, but different as our blended ROAS. This is marketing efficiency ratio, MER. We're just taking it in a percentage form. So it's just going to be total ad spend divided by total sales. So the way you would read this is 9% of your sales, or excuse me, 9% of your sales or revenues are spent on ad dollars. And then I'm just going to look at ad spends and then my blended ad spend down here. And then next thing I like to look at is my Shopify's. So making sure where my total orders are. And you'll see here these deltas, as well as when you scroll over, you'll see the previous periods absolutes as well. My AOV, refunds, return rate, net sales, total sales. Pretty awesome. Again, net profit's really important to me. This is the fancy thing that I'll let Logan talk about. Net margin, net profit, fantastic. Customer mix is, again, going to be really important. So this is that new customer CPA that I was talking about. You have your blended CPA, then you have your customer mix. So usually you want to have a customer mix around 60-40, 70-30, depending on how old the business is. If it is a very young business, you'll probably have more new customers than returning. But ultimately, you want to see that returning customers outgrow the new customers. If not, there's usually a sign of some sort of retention reactivation issue, or it just could be that your business model is basically an AOV one-touch business model where, say, Logan's selling indestructible wallets. You're probably not going to buy more than one of Logan's wallets. And so that's something that you always got to remember. The economics and the business model are going to be big context points to looking through all this. The next thing is subscription. So subscription revenues are really important. You want to make sure that they're there. We don't have actually a native integration through Shopify or through Recharge, excuse me. This is just going to be being able to pick and choose using tags. And so this client has tags set up. I'm pretty sure Recharge actually automatically sets them up. So you can do this using custom metrics and some fancy things there, but really, really important. Again, your ecosystem health in terms of email, huge deal. Klaviyo is amazing ASP, awesome partner for us. But sometimes getting just basic data out of there can be a bit of a lift. And so this is a really nice way that you can just see your contribution from email, how it breaks down. So for people that aren't super familiar with Klaviyo, you can send out messages in one of two ways. One is a campaign that's sent by a human. Two is a flow, and that's sent by some sort of action that's triggered. So really, really important to understand that. Your website traffic, conversion rate, and then you get into kind of your really more in the grains, kind of on platform metrics, spend, etc. So this client or previous client is only on 2 channels. And then your pin section. So this is where Logan and I differ a little bit. Logan's a big pinner. I'm not. I use my pin section a little differently. So when I was running my agency, you'd always get that like fatal text message of like, Logan will hit me up like, hey, how's my account doing? Or what's the AOV look like? Or et cetera, et cetera. So then I would just, whatever questions they had about whatever metrics, I would just pin those. And then there's this really cool share link here where you can actually, so you can Slack it to them, email them, but I would just send them this URL and you'll have this naked URL that you can see all these stats on. And then you can just ping them that URL. You can actually do this from the mobile app as well. So there's a really nice triage. If I was out and about and a client wanted to know what their numbers were, you can just hit them with that share link and that's it. But that's how I set up my summary page. Oh, and then we have some really cool benchmark data here that is, I think I'm spilling tea. I don't think this is out yet. So, yeah, amazing breaking news here on the webinar. But that's how I set up my summary page. This is how I like it. Again, everybody can set theirs up in their own way. The other cool thing is we don't charge by seat. So if you need to add more people, different people can have different dashboards, etc., and then really understand how everything is materializing in the success of their business. So that is my spiel for the summary page. Let's peek into chat and questions before. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Sandra, look at this. People helping people. It's powerful stuff. Amazing. So Sandra just dropped in the chat how to set up the recharge data. But we have, let's see. Okay, Stuart, let's see. Oh, what's a start a live answer? I'm just going to hit this button. I don't know what it does. Oh, you can even upvote and downvote questions? Amazing. All right, let's see. Start live answer. Oh, this is dope. Okay, so Stuart's question is, does NC ROAS divide by total ad spend or just the ad spend for new customer marketing? Total ad spend. So everything is divided by total ad spend. The denominator is always going to be total ad spend, just so you know it's the total ecosystem. So again, it's a bug and a feature depending on how you look at it. This abstracts away all the attribution. So this is literally what's happening in your marketing ecosystem. To get the granularity at the campaign, ad set, or ad level, you're going to need something like the pixel to really dig deep into that. But this is the macro level, if you will. But really good question. So all total ad spend. Let's see. What is the best way to cut and or scale ads using the pixel page? We'll get to you, Curtis. Andrew, how do I determine the proper MER high and low percentage? Are there things I should be looking at to determine the right sweet spot? Let's start a live answer here. And you guys cut me off or jump in if you want to add to this. So I'll add my 2 cents and then I'll pass it to you, Sonder and Logan. To determine a high MER or what's a good or bad MER is, again, going to be contextual on a few things. One, what the business model is. One, what the owner wants to do. So there's some owners that want growth at all costs because they want to have some sort of exit and they want that hockey stick growth up and to the right. Some owners want it to be really profitable. Some are actually going to be pushing into the future. So they're going to be okay taking a hit on that kind of first sale because they know they're going to make it up on the back end. So there's really not a right or wrong answer. Looking at our data, so we're about at 5,000 plus stores, 50 plus countries. The average MER is around 7, but there's definitely people at a 4 and even lower. And then there's people like this account that are even higher. The other thing you're going to have to remember is this is a function of ad spend. And so if you're spending more, since that is in the denominator, your MER is naturally going to go lower because there's just a certain aspect of diminishing returns as you start to scale up your ad spend, because you're going to start clearing out the really good inventory and you're going to start going after second, third, fourth order type of customers. So I wish I had a better answer than that, but would Sonder or Logan, would you guys add anything to that?
Yeah, I would say one thing I like to do when I look at MER is a lot of times most businesses are using an agency or a contractor. I usually like to include those costs in my MER and really look at it that way. So what you can do to do that is, I guess I could share my screen. Well, you can go to custom.
I'll drive for you. Keep talking. I'm tracking with you though.
Yeah. So you can go into custom expenses and add an agency or contractor cost there. So let's say you're paying someone $2,500 a month. You would add that under your custom expense, and then you would select ad spend underneath that custom expense. And then that will pull it into, yep, there you go. That will pull it into your MER percentage. So typically for high growth companies at my previous agency, so I would say like a company that's trying to go from $1 million in annual revenue to $5 million, the MER we would try to be at, all of our agency costs plus ad spend would be about 20%, is what our target would be. And so that would even be like our costs for email marketing and everything, like all in. And so for us, that was like a very healthy spot. Now that's not, obviously that's not just like ad spend, that's some additional costs as well, but we just kind of the rising tide is how we looked at it. If you're like that 5 to 10 million, you know, I think it kind of just goes down a few percentage points. The larger you are, typically the less you have to rely on advertising and ad spend. And so that's kind of how I've always approached it. with clients and in my own businesses.
Yeah, and I'll just right on top of that, because I think that's a really good point, just so that the folks listening here can understand some of the levers and why the percentage would go up and down. So yes, ad spend is a huge portion of it, but also you have to understand that the higher amount of revenue as a percentage that's coming through from return customers is also going to drive that number down, right? So some of these really big customers that are doing 10, 20, 30 million, they normally have a really great retention strategy, and they're bringing back customers often, right? And so the more revenue coming from returning customers, the lower that number is going to look. So that's why, which we'll get into later, I think the contribution margin on a new customer acquisition is worth looking at. The other thing too that's worth noting, if you're a smaller brand, is that let's say your North Star metric was more about profit. This is kind of how it was with my old company. The revenue was great. It was always cool to say we did 2 million or 3 million or 4, but at the end of the day, we knew that we weren't funded like from outside funding. And so we had to make a certain profit number to keep up with fixed costs and to reinvest in inventory. So my point in that is that let's say your MER was 9%, like we saw on that page, and your profitability was on point, right? That might be an opportunity. You might be leaving cash on the table. It might mean that you could actually invest more money into paid advertising and bump that MER closer to, say, 20%, just to see how it affects profit. Because you may find that it actually keeps profit. You're able to stay profitable at a rate that you're willing to take while making more money and bringing new customers into the ecosystem. So that's where I would look at it. If it is low right now, take a look there and see if you're leaving money on the table.
That's a fantastic point, Logan. And again, that gives reason more so to really have an understanding of the holistic view of your system, especially your marketing ecosystem, of how the money's flowing through and then how it gets down to that net profit level. Spyro, it's a very good question, or more of a comment, but yeah. So what we just showed you to add a fixed expense, if you want to calculate, I like that, effective ROAS, another ROAS, amazing. eROAS. And so you can absolutely enter your creative fees and your agency fees in there. We even have an ability to do it if you pay them by % of spend. And then you just click that checkbox like we showed to add an ad spend, and then that will be calculated into the blended ROAS or MER that we show you there, as well as the other 3 ROAS. But fantastic questions. Great answers, boys. Great answers. Nice.
Oh, and Rob, I think again, the questions at the very bottom are the earliest. I don't know if you have any interest in trying to do it from the earliest question first or anything, but
let's see, which one do we got next?
I think Stuart, maybe that might have been the first person to ask a question. I don't know if we got to him yet.
Okay, let's see. Stuart, let's start this one. Hi, brand new user trying to get set up to see. My initial question is about the elements of CV conversion value, I'm guessing. We traditionally exclude shipping revenue from ROAS and AOV calculations. Is a way to deal with that. I'm not super tracking.
I think essentially here there's the answer I think is no right away. But I like where you're headed with this. Essentially what they're saying is there's shipping revenue that is brought in on an order, right? Let's say you took in $5 from the customer for shipping. I believe what Stuart's saying is he removes that from his ROAS amount so that it's just taking in the, I guess, purchase price of the product rather than additional fees like tax or shipping.
I'm tracking. Yeah. So that would be, it's a great question. Do we include that in our sales?
Yeah, our sales number is basically going to be like the total order, like order total.
What they pay.
For all orders. Yeah, what they paid. So if there is shipping, whether it's 0, 5, 10, it should be included there.
So you could make a custom metric, correct? Where you could just exclude shipping?
You'd have to subtract the shipping cost.
No, that wouldn't work because... Yeah, no, that's a good question. That's interesting. So I think... One, ideally, we should give you a way to do this, Stuart. So we'll unleash Logan on the dev team and see if we can't get this figured out for you. The other thing is it should normalize a little bit unless you have big variances in your shipping costs that people are paying you. If everybody's paying around the same thing, you should at least be able to get a fairly, if not at worst, directional read. at best at a higher fidelity, because everybody's going to kind of be paying that same shipping rate, and you're going to be getting that. And so it shouldn't throw it off too much. But it's a really good question that we'll have to sync up offline. But yeah, anything to add there, Sonder or Logan?
I was just going to add that, like, I don't know, my old boss was, I like kind of the way he thought about it. And I'd say it's like the right way. It's just an interesting note is that the shipping can become like a profit center of sorts for you. So if you know what threshold to give free shipping and what not to, you can take shipping costs and actually somewhat make money on it. And that kind of goes into the contribution margin that we'll talk about later, because you are going to remove shipping from your revenue. So if you're taking shipping charges from the order, you would want to keep it in that instance, because then you'll subtract shipping and understand, you could understand on that level, are you net profitable on shipping in general if you're using a 3PL or in-house?
Yeah, that's a great point.
I would just piggyback off of that, and that's great point, Logan. I'd more or less look at how much am I making or losing on my overall shipping in a month, and then just have that be a factor in my ROAS. So if my goal is to be at a 4x blended ROAS and I'm losing money on shipping, then maybe I need to bump that up to like a 4.3, right? Or maybe I go the other way if I'm making revenue on my shipping. So yeah, I mean, it would be definitely a great metric, I think, for us to look into from a sales number. But yeah, I think that's how I would be adjusting to it in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. Great answers, boys. Great answers. Amazing. Great question, Stuart. Really appreciate you submitting that. Curtis, we will get to the pixel page. That's Logan's jam. Andrew Weiss, has Triple Whale considered creating pre-made summary pages based on your favorite layouts? This is a fantastic question. This is something I'm sending straight to AJ. I've asked for these. I think it could be really, really helpful, because there's a little bit of some cognitive load having to set up a page. Now with the new layout, it's actually a lot better, where the default that you get dropped into is actually really aesthetically pleasing and has a nice flow to it. But this would be something that has been asked for. So maybe we can twist AJ's arm, guys, and figure out how we can get this sooner than later. We do have some pre-built sections. So I can share my screen again, that you can add fairly quickly, but again, they're based off of my preferences. So that's not going to be really super helpful for people that don't like to do it that way. But if you go here to customize summary, you can add these as well. But it's a really good question, and I think it'd be really helpful for us. So I will streamline this and send it straight to the product request dev channel. Because I do think personally it'd be really helpful. And it's really, especially too, if you're an agency or even like a semi big team, it's really easy to just be like, hey, use this template. This is how we're driving. So yeah, it's a really good question, Andrew, that we should get sussed out for you sooner than later. Did you guys have anything to add?
I think it's great.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up the metrics you can add to it. I think helpful, but yeah, I agree with your point. Let's go, AJ.
Fair. Let's go, AJ. Where are you at?
Listening.
This has 3 upvotes. I think it's the biggest upvoted so far. So, Andrew, we hear you. We will get it done for you. Okay. When are benchmarks coming out? Ooh, that's a great question.
Ooh, question
this month, right?
No, I mean, listen, I'm working very hard on it. This is actually one of the features
project,
that I'm in charge of. Yeah, it's one of my projects. So it's going to launch as like a smaller version or like a feature than I had originally planned for, but I'm still excited for what we're going to have. It's going to live in your summary page, as you kind of saw. Don't look at the data right now. We're still, if anyone's ever used SQL, which I have not, I'm learning it as we go. I'm working with some of our data scientists here at Triple Whale just to ensure that all the formulations are correct. But we have 3 layers of filters. So you're going to be able to filter by any industry or store vertical. And that should match kind of what Shopify has, by the way. Just what they have is what we have. And then we're going to be breaking it down by AOV segments. So like, let's say stores that are doing $50 to $75 AOVs, and then spend segments. So if you want to understand stores that are maybe spending a bit more than you, less than you, or the same as you, we'll have that as well. But as you can imagine, we have to aggregate those filters and then create the formulations for the data points to show. But it's going to be pretty amazing. Like literally any day of the week, you could hop in and understand where blended ROAS is for your industry or segment. So If you want to understand if CPMs are up for Facebook today, log in and check it out. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
it'll
to
soft launch by like next week. I'm
looking forward to it. We'll definitely get it out sooner than later. The other cool thing is we're actually working on, because we do sit across this big data set. We're working on basically like a state of the DTC kind of, and we have some really cool data to see, especially spends across channel, which is really interesting. Seeing how that's ebbing and flowing. TikTok's exploding. Pinterest is actually making a random comeback, and Google's going up and Facebook's going down. But Facebook and Google are just still absolute monsters in comparison to these other secondary and tertiary channels. But benchmarks coming soon. Stay tuned. And I believe it'll just be a free upgrade in the account, right, Logan? You don't have to pay for this yet?
It won't even be an upgrade. It'll literally just be there. It'll be a section in your summary screen. Yeah.
Boom. We're just going to slide into your summary page. Amazing. 5 upvotes. So this beat out the other one. So people want the data. Let's go, Logan. Right. Let's go, LB. What's up?
Hey, I'm coming, guys. I'm excited.
Right. Amazing. When we have wholesale data and D2C data, this is Charlene Lee. Is there a good way to segment both channels on the TW stats? This is probably a good cue for you, Logan. Do you know this one? Punt it. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, there is a way. It just depends on if you have, like, let's say you're using Shopify point of sale. On the all of your orders should automatically be tagged with POS for point of sale. But if you're using something like Faire, for example, that also should be tagged as long as you have that set up in your settings. So on the summary page, you can create custom metrics. So if you, the first step is actually to click the cog and create a section. And then in that section, you want to scroll all the way down and there'll be a section that says Shopify sales by segment or something. And you'll see those tags. So choose Faire or POS, whatever you're using, just make sure it's being auto tagged on the orders. And then you can create custom metrics like total sales minus POS, for example, which will give you all e-commerce. So that's the way to do it for now. And you could build sales, MER, or ROAS right on top of that. Try to understand what the difference is for now.
Amazing. Yeah, tags can be really powerful, and we deal with them fairly well in terms of custom metrics. So if you can do some automated tagging on the Shopify backend, when we pull that in, we can do some cool slicing and dicing for you. Amazing. Okay, Kim Gibson. I spoke to RevealBot. RevealBot automates ads management. Yeah, we're big fans. They said they were working with you guys to integrate with Triple Whale, but are there any options that work with Triple Whale to automate rules and ads management? Another Logan, or you want me to riff, or what do you think?
No, man, I feel like people are teeing us up, man. No, I mean, that's well, internally we were talking about our roadmap. Well, AJ was talking about our roadmap yesterday, and the rules engine is something that he's very adamant about, and we feel will be a big part of the operating system that Triple Whale is building. So yeah, automated rules and ad management specifically for Facebook first, I think is coming pretty soon. And by pretty soon, on AJ's terms, like you might see it in the next 8 weeks. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? We'll have a rogue launch.
Yeah, I guess to also say there's a lot more risk in this feature. And so that's why it is taking a little longer, because we need to make sure that it's absolutely like works 300% when we're shipping ads, when we're cutting ads off, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it is on the roadmap and it is top of mind for AJ, because there's also some cool stuff as we start getting deeper into our AI products that we could start overlaying some really cool AI, and it's almost like, to your point, automated ads management, automated rules, scale, cut, et cetera, shift spend, et cetera. So yeah, coming soon. Stay peeled. But yeah, great question. Thank you, Kim,
Robert,
for the question.
I would just add to that. I think to paint, I guess, a bigger picture, our goal is to become the e-commerce operating system where you literally log into Triple Whale and you don't need to log into Shopify. You don't need to log into your Facebook ads manager. You literally log into Triple Whale and you can manage your entire business from Triple Whale. Now, how long it takes us to get there, it might take a while, but I think it's very exciting with what our vision is and what we are building and launching every single week to get closer to that.
Very well said. Amazing. Let's close that guy out. Duns and duns. Matt Lehman, the TW ad revenue widget totals ad revenue data from all channels, but is different from the triple pixel data. Is there a dashboard widget that totals all revenue attributed from the triple pixel data? It's a great question. Let me hit this start. I'm going to toss it over to Logan, but yeah. So Logan, why don't you jump into this question and then I can add my 2 cents if needed.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think the triple ad revenue widget.
So basically like the pixel data, there's no way to see that on the summary page, and it's different from the in-platform metrics.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Or that's what I got from it. Maybe I read that wrong.
No, I think I'm reading it right. I just don't know if we have like, I guess I'm blanking on the fact, do we have like an actual tile that has ad revenue combined on the summary page? But I didn't think we did. But yeah, I mean, let's just go into this question though, and where you can analyze this information. So on the summary page, it's more about total sales and revenue from Shopify, regardless of what channel that revenue is being attributed to. And then, right, so you're using the ad spend from all of those channels to make up your MER and ROAS. And then the pixel was built specifically to understand attribution. So the best way, in my opinion, to understand that right now is if you want to know how much value that we are attributing to your store from any channel or source, I would go to the all page and then choose linear all as your attribution model. What that'll do is deduplicate all orders, and we're going to split credit amongst any channel or source that had a touch point in the conversion. And then you can compare that value to the total revenue that your store made to understand how much as a percentage we're tracking. But then using like triple attribution, which I'm sure Rob will get into, that is there to understand if how much each platform is bringing to the table. And what we've done there is that if Facebook and Google both had a touch point, we're going to give both Facebook and Google 100% credit for that purchase and the conversion value, so that when you're monitoring the channel and want to understand how the channel is doing on its own, you can still have that metric applied. So I hope that answers the question of where to see conversion value. But Rob, if you want to piggyback off me at all.
No, I think that was pretty comprehensive. I mean, ultimately the summary page, and we should probably have some more pixel metrics on the summary page, but the summary page is more meant in terms of jobs to be done to understand kind of what's going on at the macro level. And then the pixel page is to understand where to deploy more ad spend, what channels are working, what ads are working, what ad sets are working. So there's a little bit of different jobs to be done, but I do take your point of possibly bringing that data into the summary page. So it's coming, a good question. Oh, it is coming.
All right, before AJ probably chops my head off, that is coming. That's it is designed like the new summary page design we just launched has actually a bunch of new features included. So like version 1.1, 1.2, we'll be adding like layers in from all of the different hubs on the left-hand side. So there's going to be a pixel section coming very soon to the summary.
Very cool. I totally buried the lead too. I didn't show the click-in and related metrics and the graphs. Oh my gosh, I'm just not even doing the update justice here. I just got so excited to answer these questions.
Is that
amazing?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So we can all learn together. What is that import, Logan, going to be a linear model?
Yeah. Well, for conversion value specifically. So we're actually going to show, based on the design that I saw, we're going to have all pixel conversion value, which is based on the linear model, right? So that's the deduplicated order revenue. You could put that right next to your Shopify sales metric and look at the two together. And then I believe we're going to have every channel as a tile, but with pixel attributed revenue. And that's going to be based on triple attribution. So that's what I've seen so far.
Sweet. That gets me excited.
Yeah, I think it'll just, I mean, I wish I could show everybody, but the new summary page with all these different, imagine if you have the Affluencer hub and you're doing the Creative Cockpit, there's actually some really cool ways they've integrated those hubs into the summary page. Just as I think it's a good way for you to kind of get a holistic view of what's happening. And then you can go to those hubs, cockpits, whatever, and review the data in more depth.
Amazing. Great answers, boys. Great answers. Moving right along. Brian Roddy, do you guys offer business diagnostic checks separately? Where can I buy one of those Tripwell hats? Sorry, I need to hit start live answer. I'll take the second question, and then I'll toss the first question over to Sonder, because Sonder actually runs Get Nerdy with Sonder, which is a really cool program that we just pioneered. Those are actually not part of our merch program. We do have some hats coming, but if you go to store.triplewhale.com, you can get all of our merch there. We have shirts, socks, water bottles, stickers. This isn't out yet. This is custom, but we have roadshow shirts for people that attend our real life events. What do we have? DTC After Dark. Yeah, nice. We have a bunch of really cool stuff over there. So yeah, just ping me to raba@triplewhale.com. I can hook you up, Ryan. But to your first question, I'm going to toss it over to the big man.
Sweet. Yeah. So we do our Get Nerdy sessions, myself and Brandon, who is the other product marketer on the team, where we meet with you and get nerdy. So not just show you Triple Whale, but help you understand where your business is at. Brandon has a lot of paid ads experience. I mean, honestly, just a lot of marketing experience as well, where he has scaled small budgets into very, very big budgets. And so he really knows the entire gambit. And so, yeah, that's what we do, is jump on, dive into your business, get to know it a little bit better, and then make some recommendations, how to track it, all those fun things. So I'll throw some links in the chat. My schedule is a little bit busy, so I'll throw Brandon's in as well if it doesn't work with your schedule.
And Sonder, in case anybody like loses the links, is there like one great location that our customers can visit and just understand like resources like that and when they're available?
Great question, Logan.
Put you on the spot.
Not yet, but we should create that. So I will add that as a to-do list, a task. That's what I was looking for.
But we do have the blog, so maybe it can live on the blog site, right? So if they go to triplewhale.com, there is a blog section, right? And we could put like resources on there as well, maybe.
That's a great idea. Yeah, our blog needs a little TLC, so that could be a nice impetus to this. And Brian, I hope you feel good. I think you just took let's see, benchmarks is still at 6, but you're coming in a solid second with the 5 upvotes. So fantastic question, and thank you for participating in the thoughtful question. Appreciate that. Simon, the man with the plan. I follow you on Twitter. You have a great feed. How would let me hit the start answer. How would T-Dub work with 5 retail locations with the POS? Would I be able to attribute any marketing to the in-store sales? Interesting. So we have some bigger clients that have POS sales, but this is probably a better question for you, Logan. I'm reaching for an answer.
Well, the first part of it is like with the tags. Most of what I've seen so far is that there's a separate tag for each location. So there'll be POS in general, and then each one will have their locations set. So you can look at like I've created custom sections for our customers to look at every store. But yeah, you're bringing up a good question about attribution and essentially what original offline sales were. But right now, the truth is, I don't think we're set up to marry the offline transaction with the online activity, because we're not taking, like, we wouldn't necessarily take that customer's like credit card information or email address from not all email addresses are actually inputted at the POS, right? Sometimes they just place an order and they just swipe their credit card. So it's not like we're going to extract credit card metadata and then marry that with the stuff that we found from their online activity. So right now the answer is no, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you'd have to be relying on Facebook to do that. So uploading your locations and then using the offline conversion events, since we're not pushing anything to Facebook yet. So something very, very soon coming in the pipeline. That's a really good question, though. And that's something that as we kind of move up market or into stores that have more of a retail presence and a POS, because Shopify is actually, POS is not horrible. There's a bunch of really cool big stores that I've actually shopped in that are big online, but also have a retail presence, and they use the Shopify POS. But I didn't think about that, to your point, Logan, of what would we use to kind of the unique identifier if we're not grabbing an email or some sort of digital type of identifier. It'd be really difficult to match everything up. But thank you for the question, Simon. Very, very good question. Okay.
Let's see. There was, I think, a pixel question we didn't get to. And then I have some others that people submitted. Do you want to take on that pixel question now, Logan, or do you want me to go to the other questions?
Yeah, myself or Sonder. I know Sonder's done a lot more media buying than me, and I'm happy to give you my 2 cents. And then Sonder can tell me where I'm wrong.
Yeah. So, hi, the best way, and this is from Curtis Blake. Hi, the best way to cut and or scale ads using the pixel page. Ooh, we actually just recorded a fantastic video in Triple Whale University on this. So we will get that. That should be coming probably the end of August. We'll have just a compendium of incredible knowledge from these two and myself included on videos on how to run your ads, your business better using Triple Whale. Okay, so the question is from Curtis Blake. Hi, the best way to cut and or scale ads using the pixel page. Also in the Creative Hub, Sonder, also an expert. Also in the Creative Hub, some of my FB campaigns don't show up. Any suggestions on how to fix it? I've already disconnected FB and reconnected. The second thing, we can definitely get you hooked up. Just email just email me, Raba at Triple Whale, and I'll connect you straight to the customer success team. You can bypass everything and we'll get that figured out for you. But in terms of scaling, cutting, sunsetting, etc., we'll just say optimizing. How do you leverage the pixel page? We'll start with you, Sonder, and then we can go to you, Logan.
Yeah, so like Rob has said, that video that's coming out will address this in more detail. I think, for me, the pixel is the best data source to use. And I think there's also, based on just the view through conversions that Facebook provides, there's still good data there as well. So I tend to first look, assuming you've had your pixel on the website for 3 to 4 weeks. I'll throw that caveat out. Just since our pixel is, the reason I say that is our pixel is infinite from the time it's on to tracking customers and users and their interactions and everything in between. So assuming it's been on for 3 to 4 weeks, I tend to look at the ROAS at the pixel level per campaign, ad set, ad, and see what's actually performing value or what's actually performing and driving value. And assuming that's hitting the ROAS targets and the right averages and where it needs to be, then I start scaling it up. Now, sometimes it might be underperforming where your target is, and that's where I like to use Facebook and the view through, and you can choose the triple pixel plus views, which will also add a higher ROAS number to that. The problem is, though, we're not able to tell you which conversions are view through conversions. Facebook isn't passing that data to us, and we're not passing it to them. So it's a good data set once again. So that's how I tend to use it, just like you would using Facebook ROAS. I just tend to use pixel ROAS. And then I'll look at my CAC costs for those ad sets, ads, campaigns as well, based on my new customer conversion value, and just get a good understanding of, all right, maybe this campaign is at a higher or at a lower ROAS, but we're driving a pretty good cost for new customers, and we have a pretty high AOV on these new customers. And so I think that's another good data set to be looking at. And then, from there, I kind of just backtrack and go to more leading metrics that are click-through rates, ad engagements, things like that, because I think those are good indicators as a last step if you should keep something going or not. It's a lot easier to show that. I guess I should have just shared my screen and gone through it. That would have been easier, but hopefully you followed along.
Anything to add there, Logan?
Well, Curtis had put something in the chat that I just wanted to address. He was mentioning that some context to his question was that he's seeing a lot of attribution going to organic Instagram and Facebook. I did want to mention something that I came across yesterday, because I work very closely with customer experience as well. And so a lot of these questions come up there, like, hey, why is this being attributed here, there, or elsewhere? So I ran a little test yesterday, and I realized that customers who are doing product tags on Instagram or Facebook, if it's an organic post and someone's clicking through, they actually have like a view shop button to see the product, and then you can click view on website. So I went through and I realized that Facebook is adding UTMs. They use a source called Facebook_UA. So anybody who's seeing a lot of like organic Facebook or organic Instagram, I'd be interested how many folks might be going into your shop that you've set up through Facebook or Instagram and then clicking to the website. So maybe just think through that, like how many product tags are you doing and the journey there. I do feel pretty confident that if a customer clicks on your ad, we're going to give credit back to Facebook in that instance. So again, thinking about triple attribution, when you're looking at the all page and you see organic and you also see Facebook, there could be overlap, right? So an order that's given to Facebook could also be given to organic because they went through both paths. And then, yeah, like Sonder was saying, I think very high level, it's just look at your campaigns. Okay. Look at your largest discrepancies between Facebook return and triple. Toggle on the attribution from triple attribution in the views so that you can understand where the, like, if Facebook's giving 50% credit to views, then you're going to have to like try to rely on click data. So you got to back that out a bit to understand, okay, what's the real click-through ROAS from Facebook compared to triple click-through? And normally when I'm talking to media buyers, they try to shoot for that 1 ROAS on a click-only basis. And so if you're seeing a 1 only or 1.0 ROAS on click only, those might be your indicators of winners. And so look at your campaign, look at your ad sets. If you're splitting ad sets by targets, then look at some of those upper funnel metrics as well. Beyond just the acquisition costs, look at your click-through rates. That'll kind of give you a gauge of interest level amongst these different audiences. And then when you get to the ads, try to find ones with the largest discrepancies as well. And if you see ads that aren't getting a lot of clicks or return on ad spend, or like your CPMs are too high, that could be the targeting and it could be creative. So that's where I would either cut them and then scale the ones that are doing well, or try to bring in some new style of creative to test it against the rest.
Wow. Okay, prepared. Heat on heat. I love it, Logan. Thank you for answering that. Amazing. All right, we had Stuart sliding with a new one. So Stuart and Joe and Logan, does Facebook UA_UA show up separate from regular Facebook?
Well, in like Google
Pixel?
Analytics, I believe it would, but like for us, we're not really displaying source. So that's going to get bucketed into the organic Facebook that you would see under the organic row in the triple pixel.
Got it. Yeah. The order overlap column is also really cool. I don't know if you want to touch on that at all, Logan. I saw Sonder put that in the chat, but it is
nice.
Really cool feature that can really help alleviate some of this ambiguity.
Yeah, I mean, just I would say that if you're not using this already, there's a little accordion icon in the top right-hand corner of your pixel dash. Click that and go ahead and you'll see a ton of different columns you can add. There's one that's called orders overlap. And what that means is we're giving you the number, like a whole number, and the percentage of orders that Triple Whale attributed to a channel or a source, right? Could be Facebook organic or the channel of Facebook ads. And we're going to tell you the percentage of orders we attributed that also had a touch point elsewhere. Some of these are like very obvious and aren't a concern, like Facebook and Klaviyo, right? You would assume a customer is going to click on a Facebook ad, sign up for your email to get your 20% off, then convert. But if you're seeing a massive overlap between, say, TikTok and Facebook, that's where you're going to have to decide, is that overlap worth it to me based on the investment I'm putting into, say, TikTok as a new channel? Because I would imagine you're trying to reach a new audience there. And so that's where I would say that if you're seeing conversions on TikTok, but it's a 50% overlap with another channel, you're not necessarily reaching a new audience. You're just paying double for them. And that impression may be needed to make the conversion. You could argue that you need both those touch points, but you need to understand that for your economics as well, that every dollar you're putting in, on TikTok is also a dollar that's being spent on Facebook to reach maybe the same person.
Yeah. And I would add to that as well. Great explanation, Logan. Because oftentimes YouTube, we don't see a lot of like direct conversions from, but it's a great top of funnel. And so you'll see with Google in that case, a pretty high order overlap from like a Facebook if you have a pretty significant YouTube spend. And it tends to work pretty well in getting cheap traffic to the website that can eventually convert. So a next step that I usually take on top of what Logan mentioned within order overlap is I'll actually go and click on the Google orders or the customers there and just go through a handful of customers and their specific journey and see exactly like what ads they're engaging with throughout that journey, just to get a better, I guess, education to how that's working. I like data. So as much data as I can get, I think it just helps me make better decisions. So that's kind of getting a little more granular into things, how I like to approach it.
Yeah. And even better, we're going to have a more robust customer journey. So if anyone's using the customer journeys feature now, that's going to get more granular in the future. So this manual effort that Sander's describing, where you would go through some journeys and anecdotally try to understand what are the paths that people are taking from either a campaign or source level, that's something we plan to build into the customer journey. So you could understand, was the first click from a YouTube ad, which then went into this Facebook campaign, et cetera. Because right now we're very high level on that. It would just be Google. But just so everyone knows, that's coming down the pipeline.
Amazing. All right, we're bumping up against it. These have been sensational questions. If anybody wants to toss another question in there, we have 2 more minutes. If you guys aren't already on Whale Mail, definitely subscribe there. Use Sander's link. I think Curtis already booked in, but get in some time with either Sonder or Brandon. They're really brilliant people. Let's see what other. There's some questions that we got pre-show, so I'll just go through those unless people have some new ones. Does Triple Whale run ads using their own product? We do, but ironically, we don't have Triple Whale for Triple Whale yet. So we use the Creative Cockpit. We use all these things, but we don't have an attribution solution, which is kind of like the irony of all ironies. Would you say, Sander, what's your shoe thing?
The cobbler's kids go barefoot.
Yeah, the cobbler's kids go barefoot. But we want to make sure that all the Shopify stores are crushing it. So we'll get it there, but that'll probably be an expansion market for us once we have Triple Whale for Triple Whale, and it's just built on either Stripe or something like that. But that's a great question from Nathan. Andrew got his question in about Myrrh. What kind of ROAS, this is from JD Hoggard, what kind of ROAS TW attribution are you seeing for businesses using TikTok successfully? I've seen people spending anywhere upwards from 2 to 5 ROAS at scale. Obviously, the 5 ROAS is going to be at a lower scale, and the 2 is going to be, I know people spending 20, 30K. Those are the kind of the biggest. The 40K, I think, is the most I've ever heard somebody spending on TikTok per day, but that's very outlier stuff. But I think if you're above 2 in TikTok in triple ROAS, you're in a decent place there. Discrepancies between, this is London Spilker, between FB and TW reporting, over-reporting or under-reporting, plus or minus. There's going to be again, one of the things that the Pixel is going to do is it's going to tell you the true participation in the purchase. So sometimes there's going to be over-reporting, under-reporting. And so if you're seeing some things that are wired, like out of variance, like a couple standard deviations or just really crazy stuff, definitely ping us. We have a support chat right in the app as well on the website, where we can have the dev team look into it for you. But for the most part, it should be within reason there.
And I would say, Robert, to that as well, just play around with the different attribution windows. I threw that in the chat, but that can also help if you're going from triple pixel to or triple attribution to linear to first click to last click. That will help it's just more data, helps you better understand the picture of what's actually happening.
Love it. And then we have some jokester named Ilya. I want to scale to the moon. I want to scale to the moon. Just kidding. We love you, Ilya. Ilya is another one of our PMs who is just an absolute brilliant human, amazing guy. All right, folks, I know we're a minute over, so I want to make sure that we're conscientious of everyone's time here. But Sander, Logan, thank you guys for coming on. You can find them both on the Twitters. And then if you need any other help, definitely reach out to us. We are at Triple Whale on Twitter. Also, if you don't mind, tweet at us what you'd like to see the next webinar be on, because we know what we want to talk about, but ultimately these are for you guys to get more value out of Triple Whale and understand how you can deploy your marketing efforts better or whatever. If you want to ask me about sneakers, we can do that as well. But I think that's all we got over here. For this went pretty smooth for the first one, right? Oh, look at Stuart sharing love. Thank you, Stuart. I thought it was a decent webinar as well. Appreciate you. Simon,
everybody, Simon, Mark, yeah.
I know. Look at these beautiful people. Thank you so much for the love, guys. Again, hit us up on at Triple Whale if you have any questions about anything. Make sure to be in Narwhal Nation as well. We have a fantastic Slack group exclusive to our Triple Whalers. So if you're not in that, just ping chat, and the customer experience will send you a link to join there. We have the Whale Mail we plugged. We have 2 wonderful podcasts. Definitely subscribe there. We have a YouTube channel that will start popping off as well. What else, Logan? Stay tuned for our pickleball tournament. It's going to be amazing. That'll be in October.
I better get a paddle.
Oh yeah, the paddle's going to be cool. There's only 50 paddles though, and like 4 of them are taken already. So
I'm like a sponsored pro of Triple Whale, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm putting money on you. Of course, you better win the whole thing.
Instagram bio, LinkedIn.
Yeah, if not,
pro pickleballer.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I can put sponsor, pickleball sponsor. Yeah, appreciate you, Simon, Josh, everybody. Thanks so much. Appreciate all the awesomeness. And then, yeah, that's it for me. Sonder, Logan, any parting words?
Thanks for being
Thanks,
here.
everyone.
Amazing. All right, folks. Thanks again for stopping in. We'll do this every Wednesday at the same time. Always just go to triplewhale.com/whale webinar to sign up for the next one. And then if you want any recordings or anything, I think this gets sent out, but if it doesn't, we'll make sure that you get it. And again, thanks again for joining us on Wednesday. So happy hump day, everybody. We'll see everyone on the flip. Appreciate you all.